obviously under development, and we're exploring, with this new technology capability of transforming vehicles, where does that apply? But I would just say, at a high level, we think that there are places where there are limitations in real mobility today. We're thinking about, well, how can we extend the benefits to the needs of people that aren't necessarily met by the vehicles of today. Yeah, and of course, whether in Korea or other parts of the world, I think we need to be looking at, I think it can be applicable whether in Korea or the US or Europe or what have you. I think there are a lot of places that we can look at.
Got it. There is one belief in the market right now within this concept of Verizon Studios and the commercial AV application subject, that as autonomous vehicles become more and more mainstream, they'll displace jobs. What's your view on that?
Yeah, it's a really, I would say, complicated topic, right? This is displacement jobs, and then I think we should also note that technology in history, right, has caused what's called this creative disruption, right? You are creating an opportunity that didn't exist before. At the same time, you are displacing work or different types of labor in the past. And so automation is no different in that regard. And so what I would say is we need to be, sensitive to happen. What new jobs are created? How do we grow the economy in a way that is responsive to the inevitable changes, right? And so I think my thought is, yes, there is some displacement, but I also believe very, very strongly that there are many more opportunities that are generated through automation or any other technology as in the past. We just need to be kind of creative and think about what those new things can be, right? And be open to that. And at the same time, recognizing that there is displacement that's happening, which can be uncomfortable or very difficult for some people.
Yeah, I think one important factor, just to add to that, John, is there are jobs being created and consumed by other industries, every month and every quarter. In the U.S., even though there'll be a little difference of a few 100,000 jobs per quarter created or destroyed, that's only net. Gross, millions of jobs are being created and destroyed. And so I do think you're correct in that sense that there is much more opportunity. There's never been a point in history where as technology grows, there have been less jobs. As technology grows, there have been more and more jobs. So I agree with that. We're going to change a little bit of the direction to Silicon Valley innovation. New Horizons is based out of Silicon Valley. Why is it a separate unit, and what do you think makes Silicon Valley special in that sense?
Sure. So I'll just say that we are separate in geography, but not separated in mission and purpose. Silicon Valley historically has played a role in technology-driven business and product innovation. Right? It is taking the creation of new technology, but more than that, it's taking that and turning it into value through products, services, and then, in creating new businesses and new revenue opportunities. And so, one of the reasons why we're in Silicon Valley is to be part of the kind of this overall, activity of this taking technology, like assessing how might this be used, turn it into a product of value or a service of value, and then a business around that can create new opportunities and new revenue. So separate in geography, but not in purpose. What I mean by purpose is that family motor group, right? It's looking to innovate, looking to transform from where it is today to become a provider of smart mobility solutions. And so the way that technology in general is part of that transformation story, that's why we're here. And I want to say, yes, we're part of Silicon Valley, but technology is being invented in lots of places. And so we are looking across the globe
for that can happen, not just Silicon Valley.
And even more broadly, how do Silicon Valley companies in general help global OEMs like Hyundai in what specific ways?
One of the things is lots of ideas. I think one of the things that all these efforts here is that there's never a shortage of a new idea. By that I mean how to test. Also witnessing how sometimes legacy companies are also reinventing themselves too, right? And reinventing themselves with, again, new technologies, new business models, new customers, and new markets. So I think it's important to see both the adoption of new technology, but also the way to transform yourself, right, from where you were to where you need to be. Right? Not every company is successful, but kind of witnessing that at the speed at which it happens is pretty amazing.
What do you think, as you sat between both of those geographies, what's your recommendation for other companies trying to figure that balance out between, for instance, a Korea office and a Silicon Valley office or wherever?
Yeah, a couple of things. At least one is to give some time, right? It's not as simple as saying, well, I just kind of copy the way somebody does it, but it does take time to kind of understand the speed difference. And the speed is sometimes culture, right? And to allow for, by time I mean really experimentation, right? Being able to go through an experiment or two to understand, how a new business model technology can work. Right? The other thing I would say is to give some freedom to operate. So there is it's not just being Silicon Valley and adopting something and then taking it back to headquarters. I think that it is giving some time to gave some freedom to operate kind of outside the typical norms and practices of budgeting or return or some expectation, right? I think that's very, very important.
As you kind of think about, the next, let's say, 5 or 10 years, let's say 20 years in Silicon Valley, whether it's in the market, almost all of it has come out of software companies and software-focused companies. Do you think that's going to continue, or do you think there will be diversity into these, let's say, new hard tech arenas like autonomy, or is it really important for each business to grow the software expertise locally? I think this is a really big question because the growth in the U.S. for the last 10 years was only software. What does that mean for the rest of the global economy?
Yeah, okay, so this is definitely an area that's outside of my expertise, but I'll say this is my personal opinion. I think there's this pendulum, right? I think we swung it pretty hard to the software because of advancements in hardware, right? Because of advancements in computing, semiconductor, fabrication technology, battery technology, right? That's really enabled the software to really take hold of it. So it's a question of the fundamental technology is hardware, but then it's also the value chain that's being created. That said, right? I like to emphasize the word silicon in Silicon Valley, right? Silicon is an element. So I'm a believer that there will be a moment that we have to think about, well, what are these materials that we got that is foundational to our lives, right? Not just electronics, but all kinds of materials. So my thinking is, okay, well, maybe what happens is we swing the pendulum the other way towards materials, right? And it's not necessarily earth materials, like biological, materials, right? Natural materials, right? So I think we're going to swing back a little bit. I don't know when, but I think we'll go back the other way.
As you think about
I want to change the kind of change the direction or some concluding questions. As you think about both your company, your product specifically, do you think of time horizons of autonomy getting into the marketplace, and what are your opinions on that?
Okay. Don't quote me on this, right? Autonomy it's going to happen. Okay, I believe that. It's always a when, right? And the where, right? I think it happens in smaller, kind of localized, right? Not necessarily wide, but even within a city. And it could be exponential, right? Because in the exponential curve, right, the beginning is kind of flat, and then it goes up, right? So I think that's what's going to happen with autonomy, right? It's going to feel like, why is this taking so long? And okay, but all digital technology, and automation is one of them. Autonomy is digital in nature, which just follows this exponential curve, right? And so I think that's what will happen. It's just I can't tell you like when that thing will stop like this, but it's happening now, right? And it's happening like that, right? So there is I can't give you a time frame, but that's the nature of what we'll see in terms of automation. That's how right?
뮤직TV에서 라이브 하고 있는 거.
And I'm curious to get your take on where do you think that
저도 지금
this
해봤는데.
systems work first? Do you think that we'll start to see more production deployments in North America or in Korea?
It happens where you have all the important stakeholders, manufacturers, technology providers, citizens, government, working together, right, in a coordinated way to plan out and implement autonomous, in this case, autonomous vehicles, right? You can't buy it, right? Because everybody has a role to play. It's very, very important. Technology companies, yes. Manufacturers, yes. But also government officials, the people, insurance, they all have to. So when you get that coordination together, then that's where I think you'll see some really terrific deployments of autonomous vehicles.
John, as a last question, if there is anything you want the audience to know about either your work, about the AV space in general, if there's one thing to know or one thing to remember about robotics, what would that be?
It would be this. It's actually three words, and they are collaborative, mobile, autonomy. That combination. And maybe the keyword being collaborative, right? So mobile autonomy, but collaborative with people. And I think that will be one thing to take away from this.
Excellent. Thank you for the time here. Peter, do you have any final questions for John before we wrap up and bring in Mugi?
I think that's it. Thank you, John.
Okay, all right, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Up next, we have Hongyi Cho from Phantom AI. Hongyi, are you online? Can you hear us, yes, Hongyi?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, we're live. So thank you for joining us. Peter, do you want to give Hongyi's introduction so everybody in the room knows?
Absolutely. Hongyi is the CEO and co-founder of Phantom AI, which is a startup located in San Francisco and also has a presence in Korea. Phantom is a software and technology partner for tier ones and OEMs, and they produce software for autonomous vehicles. Prior to his time at Phantom AI, Hongyi was a senior computer vision engineer at Tesla, focused on autopilot research and development. He worked on several key aspects of perception for the Tesla autopilot system, including sensor fusion software framework, computer vision, and also localization and mapping. And prior to his time at Tesla, he was a PhD candidate at Carnegie Mellon University, very focused on autonomous driving. Hangi, is there anything you'd like to add to your introduction?
No, thank you so much. That's a great introduction.
All right, great. Honey, with John, we talked pretty high level about what's happening in autonomy. We want to get a bit more deeper with you as you're the CEO of an autonomy company, and you know both ecosystems quite well. We want to spend our time on two areas: Phantom and how it's changing the autonomy ecosystem, and then Phantom's development approach within autonomy, and how it's different from the rest of the ecosystem. So, for the first question I have for you is, Phantom was founded by engineers from Tesla and Hyundai. Why did you start your own company? Both of them are leading players, and so what was your motivation?
Right, great question. So I think that goes back to my PhD time at Carnegie Mellon. So in the beginning years of PhD, actually I was thinking about becoming a professor, teaching, stuff, and then, research about some cool stuff. And then I think the third or fourth year at PhD, I realized actually self-driving technology becoming an industry. It's becoming a real business. So, I felt very lucky because, this is going to be a real business, create a lot of new applications, killer applications. That is going to be a very good opportunity for me. So that instead of becoming a professor, maybe I need to start a company. And then, I decided, but it's too big at the time. So I decided to join some good company, technology-oriented company that happened to be a Tesla at the time. And then Tesla experienced roughly 3 years. Gave me the, really good experience. Sometimes some dramas, but in general, it's a very, educational experience for me to start the startup. And that's actually the motivation. And then at Tesla, I saw the Mobileye, and the Mobileye is a computer vision technology which is dominating this, ADAS autopilot domain. And then, there is a really one player, and then there are also big tier one like a Continental and Bosch. But when I look at their performance, it was not that great compared to Mobileye. And it's a kind of monopoly situation. I think it can be a very good opportunity, so startup actually starts, something similar, and then provide alternative solutions to tier ones and OEM customers.
What did you, just following up on that question, maybe two things. One, what did you learn from Tesla? What are positive things that you learned from Tesla? And then what gaps did you see in the industry that wasn't just that, hey, there should be an alternative to Mobileye, or was it more than that?
So Tesla, I think it was really great, but I think it's moving very fast. Because the CEO, is really, the action guy, right? Once he have an idea, he just executes. So that kind of experience, like making, designing like autopilot configuration and system, and then he pushed us to execute, right? And improve the performance. So that kind of execution capability, or the speed, is very, very helpful. And then the gap, actually Tesla did a good job, I think, right? Because the problem, when I look at the Mobileye and other big tier one solution, the monopoly situation is not good. We need to provide us some more diverse solutions in the industry. So at Tesla, I think Tesla is good, but Tesla is also providing Tesla vision for themselves. So it's a one OEM, right? But we have like 30, 40 OEMs in the world, and then more than 100 tier ones. So so that's I feel so some opportunities.
My understanding is that one of the things that's unique about the Phantom solution is that it's
what kind of embedded processor I want to use. this is a really big decision for all the tier one and OEM, right? It's also an annoying question. Because now there's no perfect processor. Because a company has a pros and cons, B company say. So, depending on their compute, the different processor, we need to be, our software should be independent, right? So, it's quite challenging to make our solution truly, hardware agnostic. But we are shooting at that target. Yeah.
What are the most challenging parts of that approach that you're facing?
I think the camera, like if one OEM using the OEM developed their computer vision system, like a Tesla is a great example, right? Tesla has eight cameras, and then they have one camera in the lead pillar looking back, and then there are one camera in the B pillar looking side, a little bit of front, right? So those 8 camera setup, location and camera field of view, camera megapixels, they're all the same. So the question is then it's a huge benefit, right? If that keep changing, because different OEM has a different configuration. So as a solution provider, we have to come up with a very flexible idea, right? To accommodate all of those differences. And also processor, I think a lot of compute platform, like either from Texas Instruments or Renaissance or NVIDIA, our most popular friends. But those are all different in terms of, the high performing ARM core is the same, but the difference is their, the CNN capability, like a deep learning capability, right? NVIDIA has a well-known GPU in it, so you can very flexible. But other chipset has a very hardware dedicated CNN accelerator. So your software, vision software should be very flexible, to be ported. But from one processor to a different processor, it's pretty hard, yeah. But we have we cover most of the popular, automotive embedded processor. That's our goal.
This approach of enabling different OEMs and supplying the entire industry, why do you think that's the right approach? Is this economically beneficial? Is it technically beneficial? In other words, why shouldn't OEMs try to do this themselves?
You mean the themselves means computer vision or?
Yeah, any aspect of the AV development. What's the advantage of Phantom doing it versus in-house?
In-house. I think OEM as a major player, I think they should have some good partnership. I think because that's a quite well-known fact that OEM has a big inertia, right? They cannot move fast as a startup moves, right? One decision, takes time. So that's because of the nature of the organization. So I think it's very smart or wise for them to come up with the right partnership model, so that some new technology instead of developing in-house, right? And then have a good partnership with a good company like Applied or Phantom that can bring the big success in the end. So I saw a lot of cases that the big OEM developed by themselves, for example, computer vision or simulation engine, and then they failed after 4 or 5 years of R&D and then investment. So those examples, says that I think that come up with a better partnership and the roadmap, I think it's a good idea.
So the things that you're working on at Phantom and the approaches that you're taking, is a much more difficult approach than if you were to develop a solution that's very customized for one particular OEM?
Yeah, definitely. I already mentioned that, but I think much challenging Because if you are big OEM, right? If you are like a Hyundai Motors, and then you have a specific model and specific camera already determined, that's I think much easier. But if you have to, right now, a couple of years ago, we don't know who is our customer, right? And then what kind of camera configuration, what kind of megapixel camera CMOS they're gonna use, we don't know that, right? So we need to come up with a very flexible way to support all different approach. But but in the end, there is no perfect model or solution. We need to decide most likely camera configuration, and then we propose some idea to the customer. But anyway, making truly hardware agnostic, those implementing those ideas is extremely hard.
Honey, how do you deal with the fact that OEMs have long procurement cycles? They tend not to want to work with young companies. How have you dealt with that, and how do you break it? How do you show a very large company that this small focused organization can actually do better in this focused area? Any recommendations, especially for the people in the audience who work at really large companies?
I see. So I think I always propose like the step by step to build a partnership, right? So I think first the people in the big corporation always looking at the key trend in the market, key trend in AV or ADAS, right? What kind of new sensors, what kind of new player against Mobileye are playing now, and then they identify a couple of good companies they have a very interest, and then I always making partnership, relationship step by step, which is very important, so that in the beginning maybe we can start a couple of conversations, but after that we can start some NRE project. NRE means a non-recurrent engineering project. There's no serious attachment, just a simple project together. Basically provide us that opportunity to run each other, right? And then all that OEM is that kind of characteristics. And we are like a startup like this. And then once we build that initial relationship, and then the chemical is very good, goes well, then we can go to the next step. Much bigger NRE or next step. Eventually, what we are shooting for is the series production together, right?
Well, on that topic, actually, what does the future look like with phantom-powered vehicles? When should we expect to see a phantom-powered vehicle, and will they be in Korea?
Right. So I promised to my daddy that I'm gonna put phantom autopilot to your car. But he's driving, some crappy car, so, I think it takes some time. But eventually, yes, because we are focusing on, level 1, 2, 3 ADAS, and then the level 4, 5 is our ultimate goal, like a long-term goal. So, but at this moment, we're focusing on the autopilot. So, we want to provide autopilot to many people, so that, there are two parts, right? Safety and convenience. So a lot of people, I think, can appreciate these two parts, but not many people actually using the advanced autopilot yet. So the safety is very, what is that? It's an AEB, or auto collision warning. AEB is automatic emergency braking, right? But safety feature is not very, frequently happen. It should not, because if I have an AEB event every day, that's something wrong, right? So, but once a year, maybe once 3-4 months, it might save my life, actually, right? So, emergency braking, that kind of safety features is important. And the other side is, a lot of people like Tesla Autopilot because it's convenient. So two things, right? First is a highway, very easy environment, highway, and then, and then you can enable autopilot. That gives us, it leads to your driving fatigue, which is very convenient. If you go to, Busan to Seoul, maybe you might want to use it. And the other part is the traffic jam situation. No one really loves to deal with the traffic jam situation, right? Traffic jam situation, stop and go, we want to enable autopilot and then relax a little bit, sit back. That can be a really good feature to take.
Yeah. Those are